Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you. And today I would like to do a video on Herucus Blomerus. He is one of my favorite all-time South African knife makers. His choice of materials are amazing. The way he puts everything all together, you kind of wonder what is the thought process that goes into a knife maker's mind when they're creating art like this. But this video isn't just to highlight Herucus Blomerus, it's also to highlight custom service or customer service when it comes to knives in general. So these are the two knives that I own by Herucus Blomerus. I actually own 4 of his knives. 2 of the knives that I own are now being serviced as we speak by Herucus Blomerus himself. Now, here's the thing. There is no real official warranty when it comes to knives being made by by custom knife makers. As far as I know, there's they don't hand out a guarantee or anything. They don't really technically do that, the knife makers. But what they do is it's kind of like they leave it up to you. You buy the knife, you use the knife, and then after a while, you may notice something on the knife that was off. When you bought it, maybe you're afraid to ask, if there's anything that can be done about it. My advice to you, and this is really for anyone that is either thinking about going into customs or have got a small custom collection themselves, maybe they're on the fence about contacting the knife maker, my advice to you is definitely contact them. You have to kind of understand that when you're holding their product, that's not just a product that you're holding in your hand. You're holding their blood, sweat, and tears, and this is how they make a living. They make these works of art, and they put them out into the world, and they want people to enjoy them. It's not really all about the money for them. There's a reason they have chosen this profession, and you really, if you're a knife collector, you really need, and you're getting into customs, you really ought to kind of keep that in the front of your mind whenever you decide that you want to purchase a custom knife, knowing that the person that made the knife is going to back up their work no matter what. Case in point, the 2 knives that I bought from Herucus Blomerus, they were one-of-a-kind pieces, and both of them were, in my opinion, they were way off center. They were all the way over, to the right. And it just really bothered me that they weren't perfectly centered like these 2 knives that you see here. I mean, these 2 are, perfectly centered. Now, some quick thoughts on centering. It really doesn't matter in the long run, that a knife is not perfectly centered. The reason I say that is because you're going to be using the knife, right? You're using the knife, so obviously over time the knife is going to be off-centered. However, if you just purchase the knife and the knife is all the way off-centered, I would suggest, contact the knife maker. Hopefully, they'll probably have some way of getting the knife to them. Obviously, you just ship it back to them if they agree, and they'll service the knife and send it back to you at no cost. At least that's what Herucus Blomerus is doing for me right now. Now, in my opinion, do I think that he's the only knife maker that would do that? No. I actually think all knife makers would do that. That's how much pride they have in the products that they, not only do they sell, but, they don't see their knives as products. They see their knives more as works of art, which they really are. The choice of materials, the way the knife was designed, the way it's all put together, the fit, the finish, the quality, that's all part of the package. But if something is off in that, the fit, finish, and quality, you're a fool as a knife buyer if you don't say something to the knife maker, because almost all of the South, and I'm speaking only of South African knife makers. Almost all of the South African knife makers that I came in contact with, they do all have pride in their work, so much so that none of them would ever question you when you say that there's something wrong with the knife. They want to know what's wrong with the knife and what can I do to fix it. They would never shoot back at you and say, well, you bought the knife, you're going to have to live with it the way it is. They would never do that. All the knife makers that I've ever spoken to, they've all said, why don't you go ahead and ship it to me? Let me take a look at it, I'll fix it, and then I'll send it back to you with no charge. I can honestly say that in my own personal experience because it's happened to me 3 times where I've shipped my knife off, and we're in a pandemic right now, okay? Herucus Blomerus actually figured out a way to have me ship my knife to him and not have to worry about it traveling through the pandemic or maybe having my knife lost. I FaceTimed him before sending the knives over, and he said, you know what, I don't want you to use U.S. Postal, or any other means. I'll figure out a way for you to get your knife to me. So what he wound up doing was he wound up having me send my knife to California, or my knives to California, which was one of the distributors and friends of his where they would accept my knife on his behalf, and then they would forward it to him through DHL, because I don't have DHL here in Washington. I just don't have it. So he figured out a way for me. So he did all that for me. Okay, he actually figured, not only did he tell me to ship it, but he figured out a way for me to ship the knife to him. I thought that was a real huge deal. That's already going above and beyond what customer service requires. He's just a super stand-up guy. Another super stand-up guy is Kosi Steenkamp, the brother of Willem Steenkamp, who's also a South African knife maker. I bought one of his knives. It was way off-centered. I sent it to him. This is, of course, before the pandemic, but I have no doubt that even if we were in a pandemic, that he would definitely fix the knife. And he did. He fixed it perfectly, did a fantastic job, and I was blown away. I guess the whole point of this video is that a custom knife really is only as good as the knife maker who stands behind the product. If the knife maker does not stand behind the product at all, what is that knife really worth? That's really the question that you're going to have to want to figure out. And it's just a culture of knife making in South Africa. It's a staple there. It's the way of making a living there. So if you're not happy with one of their items or one of their knives, contact them and send it back. Believe me, they know how much money you spend on these things. And you're only doing yourself an injustice if you don't at least ask. I've spoken before about this topic. There was a gentleman online, I think I've spoken to you guys about him. His name was the Knife Gripes. That's what he calls himself. And he basically was going around asking people, hey, do you have any South African knives that are not good quality, or maybe something's wrong with the knife, and maybe you've tried contacting them and they didn't respond or whatever. I don't know if those stories are true or not, but I feel I need to stand up for the South African knife makers, because this guy, Knife Gripes, he just basically collects complainers, of people that own South African knives. I don't know if they've ever contacted the knife maker or not. I don't know if they've even had an honest discussion about it, or maybe they just got online with the knife maker and started insulting them. Hey, why did you sell me this piece of crap? it's not functioning correctly, and then maybe, I don't know, complain to the knife gripes guy. Hey, look what this guy did. I told him that his knife wasn't working, and he didn't even bother to ask me what was wrong with the knife. Maybe it's because his approach was off. But if you talk to these knife makers, if you build a relationship with them, they will service your knife. They will fix it for you, and in many cases, at no charge. I wasn't charged anything to get my knife serviced by Herucus Blomerus. I'm waiting for them to come back. He actually FaceTimed me, okay? And he showed me, look, Omar, the knife is perfect again. I just wanted to show you that there's the first one you sent me. It's all perfectly centered. I'm just going to polish them up and everything. He's at this moment in time, he's actually polishing the knives. He's doing what Chris Reeve guarantees, which is a spa treatment. And just because I talked to Herucus Blomerus and told him, can you please center my knife, not only did he center the knife, but he polished them up. He made them look real nice and shiny and brand new again. I was blown away. I really can't wait to get the knives back from him. And the whole experience was just an absolutely amazing experience. Other South African knife makers I've had amazing experiences with. Des Horn is another one who does amazing work, and if you're not happy with his work, no problems. He's willing to work with you until the knife is to your satisfaction. Andre Thorburn is another South African knife maker. Same thing. Trevor Berger is another one. J.D. Van de Winter is another one. They are all stellar guys that have that much pride in the products that they make. So the whole point of this video is for me to promote the idea. If there is something wrong with your South African knife, or your knife in general, I don't care if it's a South African knife, I don't care if it's an American knife or a Russian knife, contact the knife maker, okay? Find out if they will service your knife or if they will fix your knife. I will guarantee you 90% of the time they will. I can't even say 90%. At this point, I can say 100%, because every time I've contacted a knife maker, they've always gotten back to me. Sure, no problem, send it over, I'll fix it. And so these knives kind of have what's called, in my opinion, when you're dealing with customs, a quiet guarantee. And I think the only way for me to define a quiet guarantee is if you build a relationship with the knife maker. We all have Instagram. We can talk to these people. Just ask them what they have coming. You don't necessarily have to, just talk with them. They're always online just to talk, and not necessarily about the knives. It could be about anything. But whatever it is that you're talking about, that's building a relationship with the knife maker. And then when the time comes and you really need them to, maybe, I don't know, work on the knife or service. I mean, I could actually, maybe if I'm using the knife, I don't know, and the blade broke off, I wouldn't be afraid to contact the Herucus Blomerus and say, hey, the blade broke off. How much is it going to cost me to get this knife fixed? It may cost me something. It may not. But the point is, he stands by the product. And I seriously believe that all knife makers stand by the products that they sell. They are like you and me in a lot of ways. They realize that they are selling these knives at extremely high prices. Even though you are buying art, you're also buying the knife maker behind the art. And every time I flip this knife, I think about Herucus Blomerus every time I use my knife. This knife was made by a friend of mine. I always feel that way about it. I just have a lot of respect for the people that make these knives and do this for a living, because it is stressful work. As knife makers, they don't know what kind of personalities they're going to run into. They may run into somebody that's an absolute nut and may decide to sue them or whatever, which has happened to a lot of these knife makers. They get themselves in some kind of trouble or whatever, and through no fault of their own, because, the person that bought the knife had a personality that who knows what. It happens, but they're just like people. They're just like you and me. They just happen to create art. So, in conclusion, if you guys are into custom knives, or you're thinking about buying custom knives, think about that concept for just a little bit. The idea of a quiet guarantee. That's what I call it. I mean, you talk to these knife makers, you say hello, you're building that relationship with them, and then a little later on, you may buy a knife from them. Maybe it's off center, and maybe the bolster isn't quite on the way you like it to be. Maybe the back spacer's looking kind of not as nice, or whatever the deal might be. Contact them and find out if they'll fix it. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. I don't know what else to say on that topic, other than every knife maker stands behind what they do, and if they don't, maybe they're not worth your time. But in the case of South African knife makers, it's their bread and butter. It's their bread and butter. So they understand, the urgency. They understand how you feel. You spend so much money on their product. And every time I talk to Herucus Blomerus, every time I talk to J.D. Van de Winter, every time I talk to Andre Thorburn, the words that come out of their mouth at the end of my conversation is, I hope that you're happy. That's all I want to do, is I want to make you happy. Herucus Blomerus says it like 15 times in our conversation. I'll get you happy. We're going to make you happy. And I'm just like overwhelmed. I'm totally blown away, because you guys know there are other products out there in the world. You go and get your car fixed, and the guy's an asshole, right? Who knows why? Why knives? Why knives do they give like such superior service? And I don't know. It's a mystery to me. I don't really care. All I know is, I do love this hobby. I love all the knife makers that I come in contact with in just the past 3 years that I've been collecting custom knives. Not a lot of custom knife makers do videos on customer service. And I think it's only because it is such a difficult topic to describe. And I can almost guarantee you there's probably a ton of us out there that collect custom knives where the where the customer service was like overwhelmingly, not 5-star, but like 15 stars good. You know what I mean? It was just that kind of an experience. And so far, every South African knife maker that I've come across that I've had a problem with their knife, they always came through for me. And the reason they came through for me was because I asked. Don't be afraid to contact these people. If you guys have had a problem, keep in mind these guys are busy, right? They are busy making other people's knives. Who knows what's going on in their lives? They may have some kind of tragedy going on, maybe some kind of financial problem. Who knows? Whatever. They're not just making art, right? But every time they make a piece of art, you got to think, they're doing what they do for a living, even though they've got all the same problems we have. I mean, maybe it's a little too much that we lionize these guys for making these beautiful works of art. But, maybe that's the part of their reward. I don't know. Anyway, this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy, just talking about customer service and my experience in customer service. And if any of you guys out there are considering getting a custom knife made for you, or you're thinking about buying a custom knife, or maybe you bought a custom knife and something is off on it, maybe it's not centered perfectly, maybe maybe the scale's coming off, maybe the back spacer is, whatever the deal might be that's making you unhappy, contact the knife maker. Contact the knife maker. You will not be sorry. It's my opinion, but like I said, I've been through this 3 times, and every time I've done it with a different knife maker, it has been absolutely spectacular experience. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy. I hope this video was helpful for you. This is just one of those videos where I have difficulty in explaining what it is I want to say, because I'm talking about people and I'm not necessarily talking about things. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off, hoping you'll find one of these two beautiful custom knives in your collection. Once again, this is highlighting the customer service of Mr. Herucus Blomerus, a fantastic guy, an amazing knife maker, and a very good friend to me. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and please comment on this video or any of my videos that you happen to be watching. I'm up to 217 subscribers. I want to thank everybody that has been supporting my channel. I want to continue to keep doing videos, discussion videos, and even just reviewing knives. I've got another knife I'm going to review for you next week. Can't wait to get that one. It's going to be a surprise. It is a production knife, so you may want to tune in for that particular video. However, I am going to, keep it a surprise. And it is a knife that, I'm sure some people actually had, but I think it's also a knife that a lot of people have forgotten about. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy, once again signing off for Herucus Blomerus and his customer service. Fantastic guy, fantastic knives, fantastic service. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a fantastic evening. Please stay safe.